aspects that the scholars and the ulama have written. And this is something, that many people have become oblivious of, with the current trend of modern day fitness. People want to adopt a very disciplined lifestyle. People are going to gym. You find people walking on the promenades, people, running, jogging, walking, physical exercises. This is something which has become, so common. To adopt, like I mentioned the other day as well, to adopt a disciplined lifestyle, to have physical exercises in one's life. This is something which is, which is permissible. Of course, it has to be, in the right environment. But something where people have become totally oblivious of is that where people do not dress in an appropriate manner, in a sense where the satr is not covered. So hence the Prophet ﷺ said that one man should not look at another man. One woman should not look at another woman. Now these are the words, أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والتسليم, something to the effect that Nabi alayhi salam had made mention of, that a man should not look at the satr. Now when we look at the satr, according to majority of the jurists, the scholars and the ulama, according to the Hanafi madhab, the Shafi madhab, the Hanbali madhab, the satr of a man is from the navel to below the knee. From the navel to below the knee. Now if a person has to, wear something that is short and the area of the thigh is exposed, that is part of the satr. And we find some people are totally oblivious of that. Sometimes people come to the masjid, wearing these short pants and they take the jubba and they put it on top. This is something we need to understand. When you go down into sajda, the thigh is exposed at times. Sometimes the leg becomes exposed when a person is performing salah. And this would invalidate the salah. Ya bani Adam khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. Similarly, the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a woman should not look at another woman, should not look at the satr of another woman. The satr of the woman is, she needs to be concealed. The hands of the woman, the palms of the woman, up to, the wrist, that can be exposed. The face can be exposed, in terms of principle. But other than that, a woman should not expose herself. A woman should not expose herself. She needs to cover herself. That is why we refer to the word awra. She is a awra. Awra, even in Urdu it is used. That means it's the outer covering, to dress in a modest manner. الحياء والإيمان قرناء جميعا فإذا رفع أحدهما رفع الآخر. That iman and modesty are two inseparable entities. If one is not there, the other can never be there. So to cover the satr, this is something which is, which is important. We become, totally oblivious, of that, where we start showing disrespect, to these boundaries that have been laid down by Sharia. Where we start crossing these boundaries and then we start, opening up these verses and these ahadith according to our own whims and fancies, and we start making our own interpretations, according to that. So the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day he was walking and he had seen a person, whose shins were very, very thin. His calves were very, very thin. So Nabi alayhi salam told him, what did Nabi of Allah say? That lower your garment a bit. Ideally, the garment should be, above the ankles. That is, but to keep it a little high is ideal. That is the ideal sunnah. But sometimes, to lower it a little more above the ankles, there is that flexibility, with regards to that. This is what is referred to in the hadith as musbil idar. To ensure, that the ankles are uncovered and to ensure that the knees are covered. The knees are part of the satr. So from the navel to below the knee. And you find people performing salah, people who wear tight-fitting clothing, tight-fitting garments, sometimes elderly people. And the problem today is that people, when you give them advice, unfortunately people become upset. The masla is very clear, that the area between the navel and below the knee is part of the satr. Not only the front, but even the back. So if a person is wearing a tight-fitting clothing, a tight t-shirt, you go down into sajda, then the back becomes exposed. That is also part of the satr, part of the satr. And, then the salah is broken, the salah is invalidated. So this is something which is very important. That's why, in masajid they have jubbas and whatever have you. So we need to, I think, pay serious attention to this. We notice this new fitness trend that people are all now caught up in. It's fine, to remain fit within the correct environment, etc., etc. But to expose one's satr, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الْمُنْكَرَ مَعْرُوفًا وَالْمَعْرُوفَ مُنْكَرًا. Sometimes we look at it, and if it does not affect us, then there's something wrong. The Nabi of Allah said close to Qiyamah, that which is right will be considered to be wrong. That which is wrong will be considered to be right. If you see something that is wrong, as long as it bothers your conscience, then there's something that is right. But if it doesn't touch your conscience, then there's something wrong. So we need to, I think it's something very important, the importance of covering the satr, especially for our sisters. One of the reasons that you find when it comes to, sihr, we look at jadoo or black magic, more than often it is our sisters that are, affected by this. One of the primary reasons for that is where they expose themselves. In the good old days, when in the time of our parents, our grandparents, as little kids growing up, what normally used to happen is that, grandparents or parents used to tell the children, Maghrib time, make sure you cover your head and go outside. It was something which was known. It was something which was not considered to be, taboo. But today, you find at the time of Maghrib, young girls or women walking around, with their heads uncovered. And, this is something attracting, this is time with jinnat and shayateen, are moving around. So the Nabi of Allah spoke about this. You'll find at the time of Maghrib, normally when there are, dogs around, when the adhan is being given at the time of Maghrib, the dogs, they start barking. What's the reason for that? They're not barking for any other reason. Shayateen are fleeing away where the adhan is being given. So you get caught up, you could be at the right place at the wrong time. When you're covered, then you get caught up with shayateen and, you find issues in marriages, يُفَرِّقُونَ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ, like the Quran says, disputes between husband and wife, and, etc., etc. So this is something, very important. We just need to do the basics right. And so in terms of a woman, the hands and the face, that can be exposed. But ideally, that should be covered also, in terms of niqab and hijab. But, at least the bare minimum, the head needs to be covered, the body needs to be covered, the hands can be exposed. Allah Ta'ala grant us the understanding, Allah Ta'ala grant us the tawfiq and the ability that we, pay heed to, these advices and these things that we have become totally, oblivious of. Allah Ta'ala.